The story begins in space, showing a spaceship that has lost control and is hurtling towards Earth at lightning speed. Moments later, it crashes into a river. Fortunately, due to the water landing, a man named Kainan survives. However, his friend is killed in the accident. To Kainan's horror, when he pulls his friend Pollard out of the wreckage, he discovers that Pollard was not killed by the crash, but by an attack from a dangerous creature. Kainan, an alien from another world, has no idea which planet he is on. Seeing his friend's condition drives him mad. He immediately opens his supercomputer and scans the history of the area, learning that he is on Earth and is utterly stranded. After quickly downloading the local language and some other essential information, he grabs an advanced gun and sets out to escape this predicament. Walking a short distance, he reaches a devastated village, shrouded in sorrow. Here he sees a whale, which was killed not by a human, but by a giant beast. Kainan immediately realizes that this is the work of creatures found in his own world. Just then, he senses someone nearby, and before he can react, a horseman attacks him, causing his gun to fall down a nearby hill. Kainan collapses, overwhelmed. The attacker was Wulfric, a warrior from a neighboring village. He drags Kainan back to his settlement. Meanwhile, we are introduced to the village's king, Hrothgar, who is teaching his daughter Freya how to fence. Hrothgar wants Freya to marry Wulfric, as he is set to become the next king. Wulfric arrives and informs King Hrothgar about the destruction of the nearby village. The king is distraught because he did not order the attack. However, it would be extremely difficult to prove this to Gunnar, the chief of the destroyed village, who had been away with his troop for a few days. The king must find the real enemy before Gunnar returns, or Gunnar will assume Hrothgar is responsible and wage war against them. Hrothgar asks Wulfric if he found any evidence. Wulfric tells him about the stranger, the outlander, they brought back as a captive. The king instructs him to interrogate Kainan, hoping he might have seen something in the village. Wulfric goes straight to Kainan and demands to know what happened to the villagers. Kainan tries to tell him the whole truth, how he arrived, and who he is. But Wulfric does not believe a single word. Instead, he ties up the poor Kainan and beats him severely, but to no avail. Wulfric then seeks Freya's help and sends her to Kainan a little later to earn his trust. However, Kainan had already managed to untie his ropes. When Freya realizes this, he knocks her unconscious with a punch and flees. Soon, night falls. We see a guard on patrol when suddenly a bright, intense light appears and kills the soldier. When the nearest guards realize what has happened, they cry out for the others. A crowd gathers and they assume Gunnar has attacked them. But the reality is that a terrible creature is responsible, hunting down everyone one by one. In the midst of this chaos, Kainan spots the creature. He shouts its name, Morwen. The dangerous beast pauses for a moment upon hearing the voice, then snatches a man in its mouth and disappears. Kainan tries hard to pursue it, but Hrothgar's men capture him. The next morning, Kainan is brought before the king's court. He is asked what the creature was. Kainan explains that the creature is a fierce beast found on his planet. It had hidden in his spaceship and came to Earth by mistake. He confirms that the Morwen killed his friend Pollard, which caused their ship to become unbalanced and crash there. Tragically, no one in the court believes him. Some think it is the work of a devil, while Wulfric believes it is just a large bear. Everyone finds Kainan's story childish. Kainan tells them that if they don't believe him, it is fine, but when they go to hunt the creature, they should take him along because he is the only one who knows about that dragon. The king considers this and spares Kainan's life. The next day, they all head towards the forest to hunt the creature. Upon entering the jungle, they split into different groups to search for the dragon. Suddenly, one of their men is attacked. Hearing his screams, everyone rushes towards the sound. The king sees that his soldier has been killed by a bear. The bear is about to attack the king when Kainan suddenly appears, saves the king's life, and kills the bear. Everyone is relieved to see their king alive. Kainan takes the bear's head back to the village, where a celebration is held that night in his honor. The villagers thank Kainan for saving their king. A while later, as he is walking outside, he meets Freya, who thanks him for saving her father and praises his bravery. Kainan tells Freya about the Morwen, the dragon that is causing all the terror. Suddenly, an arrow hits a nearby guard in the chest. Freya screams, announcing that Gunnar has attacked them. Gunnar, a tall and powerful man, is extremely angry. He starts cutting down Hrothgar's soldiers like vegetables. He advances towards the king, about to kill him, when Kynan once again saves the king's life. At this point, the king's men gain the upper hand over Gunnar and his companions, forcing Gunnar to temporarily abandon the village. But as he leaves, he threatens the king. Gunnar walks a few steps towards the forest when one of his men is attacked by a creature. He goes forward to deal with it, but when he sees the terrifying beast with his own eyes, he panics. To save his life, he runs back to Hrothgar, the very man he had just threatened to kill. The creature is none other than the Morwen, and it is relentlessly chasing Gunnar's men. Seeing Gunnar return to the village, Wulfric assumes he is attacking again and orders his men to shoot arrows at them, killing several of Gunnar's people. But Kynan notices a fast-moving red light coming from the forest. He realizes these people are not here to attack, but are fleeing the Morwen to save their lives. He quickly stops the soldiers and runs to open the gate for them. Gunnar is barely saved. They all gather and look towards the forest, where a giant blazing red dragon is approaching, chewing on the corpse of one of Gunnar's men. This is the moment when everyone realizes that it was not a person, but this creature that destroyed Gunnar's village. Knowing this, Gunnar now agrees to help them kill the Morwen. But the biggest question is, how will they kill the beast? Wulfric wants them to attack it directly without wasting time, but Kynan explains that the Morwen is no ordinary dragon. It is very cunning and a man-eater, and they need to set a trap to kill it. The king agrees and orders everyone to follow Kynan's plan. The next day, all the soldiers dig a huge pit, and Kynan has them pour a lot of oil into it. Kynan's plan is to somehow lure the Morwen into the pit, and then set it on fire to kill it. During this, King Hrothgar approaches Kynan, says something to him, and then leaves. Later, we see the evening scene. Freya brings Kynan food she prepared herself. While eating, she asks him what her father told him. Kynan reveals that the king wants him to stay in the village. Freya is very happy to hear this, but Kynan explains that he is not what he seems. They know nothing about him, yet they are offering him to stay. Freya asks Kynan to tell her about himself. Kynan tells her, "I may look like you, but in reality I am from another world. There too there was a kingdom like this. We were willing to give our lives at the king's command. We attacked countless other planets to conquer them. One such planet was full of Morwens, which were normally peaceful animals. But in our greed to rule the entire universe, we destroyed their planet and killed millions of Morwens." Pleased with his success, the king gifted Kynan a luxurious compound to live in happily with his family. But one day, while he was on another mission with his companions, he received tragic news. A Morwen had just escaped their clutches, and in their absence, it had killed everyone, including Kynan's family. Tears fill his eyes as he narrates this. Freya consoles him, saying that he did not do any of this of his own will. He was only following his king's orders, and he is not responsible for the Morwen's deaths. She then hands him his family's heirloom sword to take revenge for the deaths of his wife and child. A short while later, Wulfric arrives and takes Kynan towards the main gate of the village. The Morwen, which was eagerly waiting for Kynan, appears and starts chasing both of them to make them its prey. According to the plan, they start running towards the oil pit, where the Morwen finally gets stuck and falls in. However, Wulfric also slips and falls into the pit. Kynan somehow pulls him out and then sets the pit on fire. The Morwen burns in the flames, and a wave of joy spreads through the villagers. During this, a small child in the crowd sees a baby Morwen and tells Freya. Freya goes forward with her sword to finish off the baby Morwen, and her father, King Hrothgar, follows her. Moments later, the small Morwen attacks the king, severely wounding him. The difficulty increases when the Morwen emerges from the fire, completely unaffected by the flames. Now both Morwens wreak havoc in the village together. However, Kynan and Wulfric manage to tackle them with their bravery, forcing them to retreat for a little while. As the Morwen leaves, it kills Gunnar. King Hrothgar also passes away. The small Morwen killed her father right in front of Freya's eyes. After this tragedy, the entire village is terrified. More than half the people flee, but some still have faith in Kynan and Wulfric, so they decide to stay and join the fight. The biggest problem is that none of their weapons work against the Morwen. Kainan realizes he needs weapons from his spaceship. He immediately goes with Wulfric.